Hey friends, DM Kahn here. Thank you for stopping by the channel. So this video is going to be on the Sound Skulptor TS500 series kit. This is a DIY, so you build it yourself, and it's not hard to put together if you've soldered anything like a guitar pedal or anything like that. It's a breeze to make, and it's a really cool unit. The reason that I purchased this was I wanted a tape machine, but I didn't want the maintenance. Tape machines are expensive nowadays, and you have to take them to a special tech to get them worked on and biased and set up properly, and tape's hard to find and is super rare, so I thought this would be a cool thing to look into. So I'm gonna run a bunch of bass and guitars and drums and vocals and horns through this thing. It's really great because it has different saturation characteristics, and it really has that kind of mojo that tape has without the hassle. So without further ado, let's listen to some sound examples. Just kind of cherry picked what, I thought would be cool to showcase what this unit can do. So let's start with a MIXBUS here. This is a song that I'm going to be releasing pretty soon with Jacob Eozia.
Coming in on time with some real talk vibes. To the world, to the people, no matter where you come from. This one like a look, come on, come on.
So right now,
extra gravy, heavy.
It's not running through the unit. The lights aren't on.
Move up, move a little closer to the heavy sound speaker.
Okay, but I need to also explain how I've set this up. So I'm using the I/O plugin, which takes it out of Logic through the tape saturation, the TS500s, and then back in. And instead of me like sitting here turning the knobs, more and the output less, I've just set up different I/O plugins with different amounts of gain feeding into the unit. So I have minus 12 dB plus 12 dB, minus 6 plus 6. Third one is minus 1 plus 1. Fourth one plus 5, minus 5. Then plus 8, minus 8, and plus 12, minus 12. That way, and you'll see when the lights start going on, that it's from clean to kind of dirty and crazy overdriven. So you've heard a little bit of that song. I'm going to just run it again and then through the unit and start cycling through the different levels of saturation, and you can watch the meters.
Coming in on time with some real talk vibes. To the world, to the people, no matter where you come from. This one like a look, come on, always with extra gravy, heavy. Lord, so why don't you move up, move
Back
a
to the
little
original.
closer to the heavy sound speaker, me say. Move up, just a move up.
So not a huge difference, but
combination with a dub master gun. We are jumping in lyrics with no hesitation.
I'm also trying to level match here.
Reggae music helps I and I.
So when the lights are off, the unit is off.
Full of corruption and brutality. What are you doing
This
to
is the next
humanity?
level of saturation.
Oh, what a tragedy.
Minus 6
Another
plus
one
6.
dead shot. It's reality. Them no care about your liberty. Let the peaceful protest begin. It's a crazy world that we are living in. You can't tell me how to live my life. Every day we gotta move forward with faith. Are you listening? Move up, move a little closer to hear what I got to say. Move up, just a move up. Me not bite, so don't you worry. We must have a vision that includes all of us together as one big family. Show each other love with gratitude. Never mind separation.
Really
we got
hear the
to stick
saturation
together.
now,
No matter
especially
what
in the
the
low end.
situation, we've got to make it better, yo. I know you feel it too. Yeah.
And this is
I
like
know you
overdriven.
feel it too. Jah go shine us through. Yeah. Shine the light in any path we do.
So there's also some different settings here. Right now, I basically have it on flat on the middle EQ and the 15 IPS. I kind of need to explain that if you have the bias and EQ on flat, then the IPS settings don't really do a heck of a lot. I mean, they do, but it's very marginal. We can look later at what the saturation is doing, but the tape saturation modes definitely change the character of the sound. So the -1 over here, if we go back, we'll turn it back on to like a medium kind of saturation. This one for some reason is louder too, so I'm going to be adjusting the level of my coming back in. I have a master kind of send back in, so
move up, just a move up. Me not bite, so don't you worry. We must have a vision that includes all of us
off.
Together as one big family. Show each other love with gratitude. Never mind separation. We've got to stick together no matter what the situation. We've got to make it better, yo. I know you feel it too.
Trying to get
I know
this
you feel it too.
level to match this level. That tells you that it's equal, right?
Yeah, shine the light in any path we do. I know you feel it too.
So it's subtle, even at this. I don't know about subtle, but
shine us through.
Definitely adds transient information.
Move up.
Anyways, so that's like the MIXBUS. Now let's try it on some drums. And I think a good setting is, I like the plus mode and the flat mode. And these IPS, you know, usually it's just like 30. Unless you go to the bias, which I'll show you that. This drastically changes the high frequencies if you put it on 7 IPS, as a tape thing would. So if you put it on the left side here, we'll just do it again. We'll listen to that, what we were just listening to.
Coming in on time with some
You
real
hear there's
talk
way
vibes.
less. I'll turn it off.
To the world, to the people, no matter where you come from.
That's the high
This one like
frequencies.
color, come on, always with
And
extra
it's actually
heavy. Lord,
low
so why don't you
frequencies.
move up? Now we top master Kahn. We are
So
dropping in lyrics
turn it
with
off
no
here.
hesitation.
Watch the low
Reggae
end.
music gives the people them hope.
And the high
Reggae
end
music
here.
helps I and I cope.
And you can hear
Without
it.
the dirty Babylon, full of corruption
Right.
and brutality.
I wouldn't say that
What
works
are
really
you
for a
doing
MIXBUS
to
scenario, but
humanity?
let's put it on
Oh, what
15
a
IPS.
tragedy. Another one dead shot, it's reality.
That's kind of a
Them
nice,
no care
pleasant
about your liberty.
taking
Let the
down
peaceful
the highs,
protest
but it adds a
begin.
lot of
It's a
girth
crazy
to the
world
low
that
end.
we are living in. You can't tell me how to live my life.
Listen to the low
Every
end
day we've
when I
got
turn
to
it on.
move forward with faith. Are you listening? Move up, move up.
Let's try a different saturation mode.
To hear what I got to say. Move up, just a move up. Me not bite, so don't you worry. We must have a vision that includes all of us. Together as
this
one
middle
big
mode,
family.
it doesn't. So see, if you can see this little logo, it's got a boost in the low end, then it's got like a low pass or a high cut filter. So when you have it on the way left, then these IPS things really change the treble frequencies. They cut them a lot. But if you don't want any frequencies cut, but you want that low end boost, the middle mode is what you use. So let's listen to that.
Tragedy, another one dead shot, it's reality. Them no care about your liberty. Let the peaceful protest begin.
So it's
a
off,
crazy
it's
world
flat.
that we
Listen to
are
the low end.
living in. You can't tell me how to live my life.
The high end's still there.
Every day we've got to move forward with faith.
But watch
Are you
down
listening?
here on this
Move
frequency
up,
graph.
move up, move a little
adds a
closer
ton
to
of
hear
low end.
what I
And
got
it's
to
nice,
say.
thick low end.
Move up, just a move up.
Another cool thing you
Me
can
not
do is
bite, so don't you
have it
worry. We must have a vision
on a,
that
just a little
includes
bit.
all
Let's
of
just
us.
add
Together as
30%.
one big family.
Wet,
Show
dry,
each
right?
other love with
that's off.
gratitude. Never mind separation. We've got to stick together. No matter what the situation, we've
Little
got
bit
to
more.
make it better, yo. I know you feel it too.
It sounds really good
I
to
know
me.
you feel it too.
70% wet. So anyways, we've listened to that song like a lot. Let's try it on the bus here, or on the drums. See what it's doing. See what we can do. So this is off. And we'll just go through. I'll just put it on flat on the plus saturation and 30 yips. And we'll go through the different levels of saturation. So that's off. Starting to saturate. You can listen to the snare, how it kind of just gets a little bit crunchier. Now it's like, it's killing it. I mean, you can really saturate the crap out of this thing. Like, but let's bring down the wet, dry. It's super clean. When like just the low end that it adds. Let's look on the frequency thing. This thing adds a ton of like 20 hertz. Like, it's really like 10 hertz all the way, and it comes like, it just adds a ton of low end just running through it. So that's with it off. You know, look at this graph kind of here, and then when we turn it on, actually I probably gotta, there you go. I'm gonna try a different setting because that's too saturated. There you go. See the low end just, and then with it off, I'll reset these meters. And then on. So really, the only thing that really was added is like, maybe it's a little bit louder. I'm trying to be fair here. I don't want to just, every time you hear it, it's louder than you think it's better, but it adds some really cool saturation characteristics. My favorite setting is like somewhere in here, where it's kind of like getting up the red, you know, it's coming up to 12 or 15. Just listen to the transients and how they're accentuated. Yeah, like that right there. That's like the sweet spot of this unit, where it's not quite clipping, but it's like it's in the red, like pretty heavily. Oh, that wasn't even 100%. There we go. So that's off. So let's just solo up the hi-hat and really crunch the heck out of it, because it does a really cool thing. Listen to that distortion in the left side. And I'm not clipping my converter here, it's just clipping that. Man, that's such a cool hi-hat sound. That's what tape, like when I listen to old reggae, that's what is like the sound, you know? It's that like tick, tick, tick. It's like that. It's like low end distortion. Like let's listen. Well, let me turn off what I did here. I was just kind of playing around with an EQ, but okay, so I'll turn it off. So that's without the unit. It's drastically different. It's way sharper. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like a nicely recorded hi-hat. These are actually samples, but when we turn it back on, look at all these, like, look at all this saturation and harmonics that peek their way through. Even like on a mild, well, I turned it up kind of a lot. So let's look at the frequency graph. With it off, there's nothing down here in the 100 range. And I'm not saying like, oh, you need 100 hertz in your hi-hat, but like, it's a cool, crispy, crunchy, it does that like tape thing, you know what I mean? Obviously it doesn't do the wow and flutter, but it actually has like a transformer that a tape machine, from the tape machine's amp would have. So it's actually the overloading of the amp. I mean, it also has transformers, so it's overloading the signal, and that's what gives it that like, oh yeah, that's tape sound, right? So let's check out the snare or the kick. So that's with it on. This is before. That's pretty heavily saturated. And let's try bringing up the boost EQ. Man, that sounds so good. Before, it's good. It's deep, but like not this deep. Listen. Like, that's insanely deep, man. So maybe it's a little too crazy, but let's turn the mix down. There you go. And let's listen in context. Right? So I mean, we can keep going and we can like really saturate the heck out of it. Like, you know, that's clipping my converter too, so it's kind of hard to like clip it that hot. It's hard to bring it out and saturate it and bring it back down because I'm actually clipping my converter on just on this last one. But let's check out the snare. Well, this is like my two-part snare. So to me, this isn't, you know, it's only hitting 4. It actually is, it doesn't add low end, it actually takes away low end. Like, if we look at the frequencies here, see, it's got a lot of 200 hertz, right? But with this unit, it doesn't have as much until you start really saturating it. Like now it brought up that upper mid range, right? I need to make sure that these aren't, that these are all 100% because I was playing with them a little bit. Okay, we're still good. So let's keep going. Let's saturate it more. Now we're getting in the ballpark of that like sweet spot of this unit. And when I first started playing with it, I was trying to hit, 0, but that's not the sweet spot of this unit. You can tell it's lacking body when it's down that low on a snare anyways, right? You want that, like if I turn it off, it's poof, right? But I turn it on and it just lost some of that energy. I don't know, like the graph, the EQ graph doesn't look that different with it on and off. But then when you saturate it enough, like this one, or this one, it really, that low end is back, and actually, more low end, like sub lows, which I think is just one of the characteristics. But actually, there we go. This is a better setting. Before we had the low end mode on. So now let's try this one. There we go. So now it's not overly accentuating the lows, it's letting more of the mids through because that EQ is now flat. Like, man, that sounds really good. Let's throw some reverb on there for fun. Okay, now we pretty much listened to those drums enough, I feel. Let's listen to the rhythm section here. So not a big difference, right? When you're running it at those lower levels. Like right now, we're really low, right? And like I was saying before, to me, when I turn it on, and it's super low like that, it's almost losing some of the low end. And I'll show you, it's physically doing that at low levels. It actually lowers, like this unit is incredibly sensitive to what you do to it with regards to the gain staging. I'm telling you, the sweet spot is up in this red zone. It's where it's mostly flat, and not even flat. Like you'll see, it's got a huge bass boost, but you know what I mean? You need that bass boost for this kind of tape saturation characteristic, if that makes sense. You don't want to run it too low. I mean, you can if you like the sound, but I just found the sweet spot is actually up higher, right? So you can hear at nominal levels, this thing's adding still a good amount of saturation and low end. See, that to me is right in the sweet spot of the unit. When you turn it off, it feels like you're missing like some mid-range or something. I don't know how to describe it. It just brings everything forward. It's a very pleasing saturation in my book. So let's go a little bit crispier. Alright, I'm gonna have the drums go straight to the master output, so it's bypassing. Now it's just the rhythm section and the drums, and only the rhythm section is being fed. You can really hear the rhythm section like super crispy. If you're going for like kind of an old sound, you know what I mean? This thrown in there is nice, but if you're not, you can also just drive down the mix, right? Okay, let's listen to some vocals. I'm gonna run this. Now the rhythm section is gonna bypass.
Hesitation. Reggae music
Now
gives the people them hope. Reggae music helps I and I cope with all the dirty Babylon, full of corruption and brutality. What are you doing to humanity? Oh, what a tragedy. Another one dead shot, it's reality. Them no care about your liberty. Let the peaceful protest begin. It's a crazy world that we are living in. You can't tell me how to live my life. Every day we've got to move forward with faith. Are you listening? Move up, move up, move a little closer to hear what I got to say. Move up,
It's
just a move up.
you can hear when the background vocals come in that it really like brings it into almost like clipping.
Closer to hear what I got to say. Move up, just move up, just a move up.
That's without.
Me not bite, so don't you worry. We must have a vision that includes all of us. Together as one big family. Show each other love with gratitude. Never mind separation.
See,
We've got
that right there. I know it's not hitting what I was saying is the sweet spot. But for the lead vocal, I feel like you don't want it too saturated unless you're doing it for an effect, which we can try that too. Like if we go to this one,
music gives the people them hope. Reggae music helps I and I cope with all the dirty Babylon, full of corruption and brutality. What are you doing to humanity? Oh, what a tragedy. Another one dead shot, it's reality. Them no care about your liberty. Let the peaceful protest begin. It's a crazy world that we are living in. You can't tell me how to live my life. Every day we've got to move forward with faith. Are you listening? Move up. Move up. Move a little closer to hear what I got to say. Move up. Just a move up. Me not bite, so don't you worry.
Obviously it's crazy.
We must have a vision that includes all of us. Together as one big family. Show each other love with gratitude.
Wet.
Never mind separation. We've got to stick together. No matter what the situation, we've got to make it better. Yo, I know you feel it too. Yeah, I know you feel it too. Whoa. Jah go shine us through. Yeah.
Sorry that I brought the bass through there. So, oh no, that was
shine the light in any path we do. Whoa. I know you feel it too. Yeah. I know you feel it too. Whoa. Jah go shine us through. Yeah. In any path we do. Whoa. Move up. Other people move up. Let me tell ya, move up.
I don't know, it's kind of a cool effect.
Let the peaceful protest.
So I'm gonna move it back to where it was.
It's a crazy world that we are living in. You can't tell me how to live my life. Every day we've got to move forward with faith. Are you listening? Move up. Move up. Move a little closer to hear what I got to say. Move up. Just a move up. Me not bite, so don't you worry. We must have a vision that includes all of us. Together as one big family. Show each other love with gratitude. Never mind separation. We've got to stick together. No matter what the situation, we've got to make it better. Yo, I know you feel it too.
You know, if you do the tape saturation at 7, like with the bass boost and the 7.5 IPS, or the treble cut, and then you mix that in, then the saturation is like only lower, you know, not the upper frequencies.
Have a vision that includes all of us. Together as one big family. Show each other love with gratitude. Never mind separation. We've got to stick together. No matter what the situation, we've got to make it better. Yo, I know you feel it too. Yeah, I know you feel it.
Now let's listen to it on the bass. I'm gonna have that go to the stereo out and this go to the output we're using. Okay, so next is bass. Let's solo it up. So to me, it's not like, for reggae, this kind of low signal setting, like I said, it's not in the sweet spot enough for it. So let's just keep going up the levels. Now we're getting there. Listen to the difference of like the low end. Now it's there and it's present. So, and like that sounds so good to me. Let me turn it off. It's a hair louder. So that's pretty level matched. It just adds a really nice warmth. Now let's do the bass boost thing. This is really where this was freaking awesome. So let's put it to 7 IPS. Oh. Okay, off. That girth that it adds is just magical. Let's watch the meter here. Look at all this like super sub lows that it adds. It's a little bit cleaner. Man, it's a really good for bass. Like on the MIXBUS, it's hard because you gotta, if it's too much, like if it's too saturated, then yeah, it doesn't sound right. But then again, that's what tape did. If you listen to those old records, like the low end was like blown out on some of them. The Jamaicans, like they got it figured out right where that sweet spot was. And that's what's funny about these units. It's like in the digital realm, we don't have to worry about like that kind of stuff. Yeah, some plugins for sure, if you hit them too hard, then it kind of ruins the sound. But this thing, man, it's like there's a world of difference from this to this. It's so much thinner down here, right? And I'll even turn it up. Versus that, like that's so girthy. The different tape saturation modes have different levels of second and third harmonics, and I'm going to show you guys that at the end. If you're that nerdy and you stick around that long, I'll show you what the harmonics of this thing is doing with the plugin doctor. Anyways, I gotta keep moving here, so I'm just gonna now go through some other stuff like horns, percussions, that kind of thing, and just go quickly through the different levels of gain staging that I'm gonna set up, because otherwise this video is gonna be really long. Let's just find it cool. Oh, that one wasn't 100%. Man, I love how it clips. It sounds so sick. Back to nothing. Let's try another pass here. So that's off. By the way, that's Glenn Holdaway. Big up Glenn. He's insane on the trumpet. If you ever need trumpets, hire him. I think it's like 7 layers of trumpets or something crazy. I hope you guys can hear like how it's getting grittier and grittier. What do we got here? Okay, here's some percussions. I'm just gonna turn it up a bit. Pretty subtle. Just kind of exaggerates the transients, right? Okay, what do we have here? Let's do female vocal. This is Rexy. Big up Rexy. Let's find a spot. Here we go.
Floating high, yeah. Ay. You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude. Ay.
Here's the original.
You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude. Ay. You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude. Ay. You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude. Yeah. Ay. You make me better, yes you do.
It's really cool what it's doing.
Yeah.
So this is like
Ay.
kind of
You
quiet.
make me better, yes you do. Yeah. Ay. You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude. You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude. You make me better, yes you do. Feels like gratitude.
I feel like right here, either one of these two.
You make me better, yes you do.
Just kind of rolling. It's like taking the edge off of it, you know? It just sounds more analog. I don't know. Here's dry.
You make me better, yes you do.
It's like very upfront, and that's how I mix that. But
you make me better, yes you do.
Just kind of chills it out a little bit.
Feels like gratitude.
Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, this. So this is a, I call it a background organ. It already has a lot of distortion on it. I need to turn it up. It's doing something with the frequencies that I like, you know? It's like taming them. And we're low here. It's actually thinning it out. Maybe that's what I like. Yeah, see, it's kind of got a lot of low mids. And it's making it a little bit brighter, which I like. Let's saturate it more. Yeah. It sounds like it's coming through an old Hammond or something now. The Leslie. I'm just gonna saturate the crap out of it. That's so crazy what it's doing with the distortion. Quickly, I just want to do another MIXBUS one. You might have heard this song. So right away, it's accentuating. Like you hear this thwack of the snare. Now it's getting a little meatier. Now it's getting like saturated. Now it's like too much. There it is, right in that sweet spot. I hear the kick and the snare like coming at you. Listen to the snare. It just has more like dynamics. I don't know. It accentuates that snare without. All right, let's play around with the horns a little bit. Let's do that intro. So a little bit thinner. It sounds pretty flat. Do you know it's doing that thing to the frequencies? This is like right in that sweet spot. And like, oh, that was at 27%. So that's really saturated. But if we back it off, I think it's still too much. Unless you're going for that super old sound, you know? But right there. Maybe even like, yeah, 60%. These, like, unless you're wearing good headphones, it's pretty subtle, honestly, at this level. Like when it's super saturated, you know, you heard it. Overdriven, whatever, but it is pretty subtle, but it does something with the harmonics. Let's listen to just the drums here. Oh, by the way, this is Kerrigan Reggae Drummer. If you don't know him, go check out his YouTube channel. And I got a special announcement coming soon of a project I'm doing with him. Man, listen to that kick. Let's play around with the. Listen to that kick, man, with that bias thing on. That 7.5 IPS is crazy. Let's just let's just freaking destroy this. Just for fun. I'm imagining some of you rock people watching this would like, this would be such a good like crush. That along with this compressor afterwards, that would be pretty sick. That thing is absolutely destroyed. That's the original. And then let's drop it down. It's sweet, man. With a dry wet, that's probably what I'm going to be using this thing most for. Is going to be just like on a send, you know, whatever I want to send to it. Do I want to send a little bit of kick and snare? And then whatever I want to get crunchy, you know what I mean? I might send it to it. And I might have that be fully wet, or I might just have it be a little bit wet. And it'll just add that little bit of saturation and analog mojo, right? So I'm going to talk about this really cool plugin called Plugin Doctor, and you can use it to kind of see what's the harmonic character, what's the frequency response of your plugins, but it also works with hardware, which is freaking cool. So that's what we're going to use it for. So I'm just going to check use hardware, and I'm going to put it to 0 dB. Okay, right now we'll set it to flat, 30 IPS, and you can see what the blue is the left one, the pink is the right one, and you can see what the frequency curve is here. Now, that's a pretty substantial bump to the very, very low end, and a little bit of a dip, and then it goes back up to the treble. But let's turn it off because you'll be able to see what my desk is just straight up. So my desk, my console, this Midas here, you can see it's pretty flat. The two channels aren't the same, you know, it's analog, and this desk is like 20 years old or something, I don't know. So I'm okay with it. I'm gonna live with its warts and its bumps, and that's okay. But when we turn on this guy, I have to turn up the gain a little bit here on the desk. You can see how radical of a difference the frequencies are, right? It's pretty cool. So let's change it to the other type of the minus mode. And I could kind of see why they're calling it minus, because it's not as, you know, let's change it back. Let's give it a minute. It takes a sec. So it has a more drastic bump to the low end, right? And let's try the middle one. This one's really interesting. It's got this like, it just dips the treble, you know? And this is only, it's less than 5 dBs from here to here. So, I mean, that's a lot for sure, but it's not like, oh my gosh, it's insane. It looks like a lot more than what it really is on this graph, right? So let's change it to 15 IPS and the bass boost mode. And then there you can see a difference, right? And let's change it to the plus mode. Huge difference, right? This is on the bass bump mode. So I'm just raising the volume so you can kind of see it a little bit better. But so if I go back to flat mode, you can see that bass kind of came down. There wasn't as much of a dip here, and I'm put it back on that bass boost mode. Boom. Look at the big dip at 100, and there's a bigger climb way on the sub lows. What else changed? Let's just go back. So not much changed on the top end, just mostly I'll call it the lows to the low mids. And if we go to the other tape saturation mode, this one's a little bit louder, the minus mode. Let's go to the bass boost. Yeah, it's the same kind of idea, right? Now, if we go to 7 IPS and we go all the way to the left, you can see there's a drastic, I'm just raising the volume, there's a drastic cut to the treble. So let's go 15 IPS. See, now it's a little more, it's a nice kind of medium roll off, you know what I mean? It's not too drastic. I really like the 15 IPS mode, especially on drums. Having it on the bass boost, you know, all the way to the left, and having it on 15 IPS, it's nice. And then if we go back to this mode, there's your treble again, right? Same with linear. And I just also wanted to prove, so there was a slight difference there. Oh yeah, for sure. That's the bass boost mode, duh. I just wanted to show you from 7 IPS, when the bias EQ is all the way to the right, these don't really do anything. Watch, I'll change it. Nothing really happened to the frequencies. Now that doesn't mean that nothing happened to the harmonic character. Maybe it did a little bit, but so then I'll just turn the units off so that they're bypassed, and there you go. There's my Midas flat EQ, even though it's got some stuff going on here. It's probably needs some capacitors probably need to be changed, to be honest, but that's okay. So yeah, let's go and check out the harmonic analysis. Now this is really cool and pretty nerdy, but let's change it to 500 Hertz. So what's happening right now is here, let's turn, and the gain is like basically minus 50 dB, so it's pretty quiet signal, right? Minus 50 dB. This is a 500 Hertz sine tone, and it sounds like ooh, you know, something like that. But if you turn it up, and this is with the unit bypassed, this is just my console. These are the harmonics from my console, okay? So as we climb higher, now I'm saturating, I'm clipping the converter right now, okay? So you can see all of these are harmonics of the original sine wave. This is really loud. So minus 4 dB, and then your harmonic is minus 70. So the difference between minus 5 dB and minus 70 dB is 65 dB. So that's not, I know it looks like a lot of harmonics, but really it's like barely anything. But it's there, and that means that my console has a sound, right? It adds harmonics to the sound, and I think they're good and pleasing. I love this console. Anyways, this isn't about my console. So let's turn on the unit, and look how many more, right? So this is 42 dB versus 4. So I'll turn it off again, right? So it has 20 dB louder of those harmonics, and it also has different harmonics and different characteristics. So I'm going to drive this thing even more. I'll turn down the volume a bit. Here we go. Okay. So now we're really getting into clipping, and you can see how many harmonics are here, right? That's a lot. We're clipping here. So I'll just saturate the snot out of it so you can really see this is what happens when you clip something. And that also could be clipping my converter, which it is. But now I've turned the gain down on my console, so I know I'm not clipping. All of these harmonics that you see here are from the TS500s. So yeah, let's talk about the harmonics. We'll just leave it on like kind of a medium level. Turn this up a little. Okay. Well, that's not a medium level. That's like a crazy, that's really saturated. So you can watch the amount of them. See, there's no drive going through it now. It's at 0. But there's still harmonics, right? So this is 500 hertz, right? And this is 1000 hertz. So that is the even harmonic. This is 1500 or 1.5K. And that's a third harmonic. So even harmonics, correct me if I'm wrong, but tube gear has more even harmonics, and transistor gear has more third harmonics. So you can see the third is higher than the second. This is the octave, and this is, I believe, the fifth. And this is the next octave, and the fifth, and so on and so forth. But let's change to the minus mode. And now there's even more of that third harmonic. I'll switch back. Than before. But this one had more of the second harmonic. So going back to the minus mode. So more of the third, less of the second. And then the middle one is interesting because it kind of has more of the second and less of the third. So let me boost this a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Yeah, that's a better. Okay, so back to the plus mode. See, there's a lot more third than second. But when you go to the middle mode, they're almost even, the second and third harmonics. So that to me tells me that these two tape saturation modes are drastically different in their harmonic character. If I turn this off and we look at my board, which is now clipping, hang on a second. I'm just turning the volume way down. So it was kind of, my console has a little bit more third than second, right? But when we turn this back on, in the middle mode, the second harmonic and the third harmonic are closer. And then if you change the bias EQ, let's see, what does that do? That doesn't do much. What if we put the bias EQ? There should probably be less in the upper range. Yeah, so if we change this to flat, it's going to be more upper harmonics because those treble frequencies aren't cut. Now I'm cutting those treble frequencies and there's less harmonics in that range. So yeah, there's a lot of combinations with this unit, and that's what's pretty cool about it, you know? I think for normal duties, you're gonna want to do flat and 30 IPS, right? And pick your favorite saturation one, you know, your mode. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you will look at Sound Skulptor. They're super fun to build. This one was really easy. I've built some Cappy before, and the CP4500 bus compressor, which is awesome too. And this one was really easy. It's just a lot of components, but they're not hard to make, and they're really fun and really addicting once you get into them. Ask anybody who's built one. And if you have, you know, an interface that allows for you to kind of come out of the box and back in, man, it's the best of both worlds, right? You get the analog and the digital. And the reason that this tape unit I think is really cool is you never have to really maintain it, right? You don't have to bias it and get it fixed, and it's just done. It's, you know. So you don't have any of the hassle from real tape, but you get the harmonic character from this guy. So thank you for watching. In the next video, we will have a tutorial. I know I've been doing kind of a lot of product reviews and stuff, but I love building this stuff, so I think it's going to make my sound a little bit better. But if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and check out my other videos, and thank you so much for stopping by. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.